So guys, Tech-tember is definitely real. Yesterday I received two packages, the iPad mini 6 and this iPhone 13 Pro. I decided to give you my first impressions on the amazing iPad mini 6 first. Be sure to check that out if you're interested. But now it's time to talk about this iPhone. Let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again, and if you're new here, I'm Patrick, and this is why I ramble about tech and other stuff. Right, can we just take a moment to appreciate this black box? I think it looks so dope. Unfortunately, the unboxing experience isn't all that. One of the best things of getting a new Apple product is peeling off that virgin plastic. I know it's not environmentally friendly, and we need to be nice to Mother Nature, but the sound of that plastic was so satisfying. Anyway, a small price to pay. Plus, it made me decide to record a quick unboxing intro ahead of time so I could be sure to have this iPhone fully set up for a couple of first impressions. You all know how the setup procedure works, and nobody needs to see me do a terrible Stevie Wonder impression while setting up my Face ID. So here we are with the new iPhone 13 Pro all set up. So I went with the graphite version. I know people are going crazy about the funky colors like Sierra Blue. I just like the look of graphite against these beautiful steel sides. I do have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this material because, as beautiful as it may be, it's only beautiful until you touch it. If you so much as look at it, you will get fingerprints on it. So you better keep one of these in your pockets at all times. For me personally, it doesn't matter a huge deal. I will stick this phone in the case straight away. I know some of you diehards like to rock their iPhones naked, but these phones cost a small fortune and I'm not that brave. Right, so what else is there to see on the outside? We have our power button, we have the antennas, the mute switch, the volume buttons. Of course, we have these speaker grills with fewer holes, by the way. And of course, we have our redundant lightning port Apple refuses to get rid of because they want you to buy more accessories. The most notable change is on the back, which is of course the camera bump. It is definitely thicker, so your Pro 12 cases, if you're coming from that model, won't fit. Speaking of cases, over to my evil twin to give a quick word of thank you to today's sponsor, Casetify. Yeah, okay, he's the evil one. You know who's not evil? Casetify. They are working hard to make our planet just a little bit better with their mission to eliminate single-use plastic. Their new crush cases are made of 65% recycled and plant-based materials. In fact, their Recasetify program upcycles end-of-life phone cases and other excess plastics and turns them into brand new cases. And because Casetify tries to reduce the carbon footprint, they process that plastic 20% less. And you can actually see the crushed phone cases in the speckled case designs. But of course, cases don't just need to be friendly to the environment, they also need to be friendly to your very expensive new iPhone. So these cases are lined with new and improved shock-absorbing Qi technology, which makes these cases drop safe up to 9.8 feet. The cases are 100% BPA-free and 100% non-toxic and non-hazardous. They feature Defensify, which is an antimicrobial coating, which eliminates 99% of all bacteria by stopping the growth of microbes and preventing them from even sticking to the surface in the first place. Go to casetify.com/PatrickRambles and get 15% off your order. Right, so apart from the camera bump, there is of course the notch, which is really noticeably smaller, even compared to my iPhone mini. Now, I had a super difficult time picking the right iPhone last year. I reviewed the 12, the mini, and the Pro Max. I landed on the Pro Max because I was used to larger screens, but ultimately I returned the Pro Max and I got the mini instead because it was so fun to use. It felt novel to me. But the battery life is abysmal, which was fine when we were all staying at home, but I can't take this mini out the entire day without it dying halfway through. Even with a battery pack, it's difficult to make it to the end of a full day. Plus, if you need to add all the bulk of a battery pack, you lose all the advantages of that small form factor. I did a video comparing different battery packs, by the way. Spoiler alert, don't get the Apple one. If you want to know why, I'll put a link at the end of this video. Anyway, here we are back with the larger model. I did not want to go to the Pro Max because that became far too big and far too heavy in my opinion. So the Pro, for me, looks like it could be the perfect compromise. I have relatively small hands, so this will definitely be a two-handed device for me. Don't get any ideas, I have big feet, okay? It really does feel more premium compared to the mini. It's got that heft to it, you know? It just feels more substantial. One of the reasons I gave to switch to the mini last year was if I go running, I don't want to have a giant phone flopping around my waist. But I do have an Apple Watch now, and you can finally listen to Spotify without your phone present. I did a video on that too. Sorry for plugging all my vids. They just seem relevant right now. The most ironic thing of all is that last year I reviewed all iPhones except the Pro model. In fact, I devoted an entire video telling people not to buy the Pro and get the Pro Max instead because it had a much better camera. This year, that's not the case. So the Pro Max really only has a bigger screen. And to me, at that size, that's no longer an advantage. Right, enough talk. Let's see this thing in action. The first thing you immediately notice is the 120Hz Pro Motion display. The camera doesn't really do it justice because it's at 24p, 24 frames a second, so you can't really see it, but it's just super snappy. Compared to the 12 mini, I mean, it's a 60Hz phone, you can immediately feel it. Now, I have the M1 iPad Pro as well. I know what an Apple 120Hz display looks and feels like, but having this on the iPhone, finally, by the way, is just great. Combined with a Super Retina XDR display on the Pro models we now have, on this condensed screen, it looks really amazing. iOS 15 also looks and feels great on this phone, and that's probably because it's been optimized for Pro Motion displays. I love some of the amazing new features like live text, which lets you select text from literally anything, even a JPEG, and you can use it as if it were typed text. But did you know you can actually long press on an image wherever you are, like on a website, and simply drag it to another app? That is so useful. Right, just a few specs: Super Retina XDR display, 120Hz adaptive refresh rate, 1000 nits typical max brightness, it's a little more in HDR, 6 gigs of RAM, an A15 Bionic chip with 6-core CPU, 5-core GPU, and 16-core neural engine, making this the fastest chip ever in a smartphone. And of course, it has 5G. I chose the 512GB version. It goes all the way up to 1TB, but that seems a little excessive, even for a video nerd like me. But being a video nerd is exactly the reason why I went with the 512GB, which a lot of people will also think is way too much for a phone. But when you consider the file sizes of those delicious ProRes videos coming out of this camera, 512GB all of a sudden doesn't seem that excessive anymore. Plus, I also use this phone to offload files from other cameras when I'm on the go. Some of them don't have removable SSDs, just internal memory, and when those cameras fill up, it is very useful to be able to dump that footage on my phone, clear the memory on that device, and continue filming. Speaking of cameras, the camera on this iPhone is the best so far on any iPhone, obviously. It's got a 12 megapixel telephoto lens at f2.8 aperture, 12 megapixel wide at f1.5, which is amazing for low light performance, and an ultra wide lens also at 12 megapixels and an aperture of 1.8. The Pro now also has sensor shift stabilization, which puts it on par with the Pro Max. Now, there are two very cool new features I'm super excited about: cinematic mode and macro shots. Cinematic mode is kind of like portrait mode for video. It mimics that bokeh effect you find on professional cameras, whereby the subject in the foreground is in focus and everything else in the background is blurry. But you can now choose what's in focus and what's blurry, and that is pretty amazing. Now, does it look as good as in an actual camera? No, it's not real. It's software based, and that shows. You can see sort of a halo around the subject because the software needs to determine where the blurriness starts and ends, rather than an actual lens. But the coolest thing, and the thing I'm most excited about within cinematic mode, is that you can actually shoot a scene and decide what's in focus after shooting the scene. So you should imagine the iPhone filming different layers and keeping those layers separate so you can make those decisions in post-production. I know I'm probably moving into nerd territory here, but I'm a nerd, so that works out well. The second amazing camera thing is the ultra-wide lens has autofocus, which enables you to get super close to your subject, enabling you to take macro shots, which basically means that you can get extremely close up to your subject. Normally, a camera will stop being able to focus as soon as it gets too close, and everything will just become blurry. But with this new feature, you can get ridiculously close to your subject, which can create very cool effects. And if you want to do this on a regular camera, it usually requires a very expensive macro lens. So being able to do this on your phone is just next level. Alright guys, like I said, I'll be testing all of these features and of course many more during the next days and weeks, and I will get back to you with an actual in-depth review very soon. If you enjoyed the video, please give it one of these. It really does help the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.